Hi, my name is Susan Weimer, and I'm here with another video for Picket Fence Studios. I will be using our Weather the Storm sentiment set to make a masculine encouragement card. I was inspired by a wooden ceiling I had seen Joanna Gaines design on a house for Fixer Upper, and so I pulled out my wood grain paper. I love the sentiment because we all need encouragement when we've gone through something that's left behind either a physical scar, an emotional scar, or both. So this is another view of the card. And I also made a feminine version as well for my mom, who's just been sick. And I just stamped a background with our Rose Bouquet stamp set in a light gray ink, and then stamped the sentiment on some pink paper. So I have our blender brushes, the stamp set. Excuse that quick clip change. I had the lights on. That makes no sense. But anyway, here's some wood grain paper. You can get that from a number of places, and I've linked a couple below. I have a variety of distress oxides and distress inks because I have don't have a complete set of either. I'm going to first cut the paper down to 5.5 inches wide, and we're going to be using the Misty to do the stamping. And so I'm going to, with my trimmer, make some 1-inch strips. Sorry about my little trimmer going wonky there. And on the screen, this looks wonky. So the first color that I have is Hickory Smoke, Distress Oxide. And I'm just applying the Distress Oxides or the Distress Inks with the blender brush just to bring out the wood grain. And I've grabbed a piece of paper to kind of keep my hands from getting too inky. And I love using our blender brushes because not only do I have a tremor, but I also have rheumatoid arthritis. And blending for me was quite painful with the regular ink blending tools and even the clarity brushes. So Lydia Fiedler gifted a set of these to me, and ink blending has become relatively pain-free for me. And I'm ever so grateful for this. So if you have hand problems of any sort, don't feel bad about purchasing tools so that you can continue crafting. Like I said, I'm very grateful for these. I do have the full set, but trying one or two would be great. See if it helps your hands. So anyway, I've used Hickory Smoke, and now I'm using pumice stone. So I think of Hickory Smoke as a C Copic marker, and I think of pumice stone as a W. They're warm grays. This one's a warm gray, and Hickory Smoke is a cool gray. So I like having both of these in my distress inks or distress oxide stash. I have one in one and one in the other, but it doesn't matter. They both work the same. And then I'm just scrubbing my brush off on the side, and then I'm just trying out some different inks. And I'm going to go back over the Hickory Smoke with a little bit of pumice stone here in just a minute. No, I might have changed my mind. You could do this in any combination of colors. You could use some greens and do the shabby shutters. I'm using weathered wood distress ink here. So I've changed. There's also, now that I think of it, I could have used old paper. So now I'm adding some black soot distress ink because I want to just get some real variegation or variety in the different inks, and I want to bring them to that really distressed wood look so that we can create that masculine background. So I'm sanding a little bit here. You don't need this tool. I remembered I had it, and I didn't want to go outside to the garage and trip over everything and find the sandpaper, and I didn't know where. You could also use one of those nail buffing tools, and then I didn't know where that was. So anyway, to save me from harassing my husband, I remembered I had this tool and I pulled it out. So it's not one you need. You can certainly improvise on that. You could also just scrape away some, I suppose, with some scissors. But anyway, I had the sanding block, so I got it out. There's no need for this tool in a specialized form unless you already have it. So I am just adding, again, as I said, weathered wood to all of the pieces just to bring in a different shade. And again, old paper would also be a good choice here. And then I threw some frayed burlap or vintage photo. I'm not sure which one I used on here. Just to bring in some more color. The whole point about the weathered wood look that I've learned is that the different grains and different types of wood come in different colors anyway. And then as they're exposed to the environment, they come in different colors. Does that make sense? So I was also recently at one of those places where you can make your own rustic sign, and we added different stains to the wood like this, but we were using stains, obviously. And I picked a gray stain, and my daughters were using natural wood stains, more like these. So that was the look that I was going for. So I was inspired by these pieces that my daughters made. They were Christmas signs. Mine was an all gray with a white, and I may try that with a card sometime. So I'm just laying the strips now, just using my Tombow monodot, I think it's a monodot, adhesive, and I'm trying not to do every other. I'm trying to use 2 of this, 1 of that, just to make it look truly weathered as best I can anyway. So obviously they're overlapping my A2 card base, which is I cut from some, it's a top folding no card cut from Nina 110 cardstock, and then I'm just going to trim this off with my scissors. So now we have the card base, and I really like it, and I decided I needed something else. So I rolled some speckled cardstock that I have from French Paper. I've put the link below, through my crimper, and I stamped the sentiment in, I think it was W+9's warm wool ink. And then I've distressed the crimped paper as well with some of the same colors that were in the wood. Because again, I was just going for this real rustic finish. And so I'm just going to adhere the crimped paper with some G2K Connect glue. That happened to be what was on my desk. Any wet glue will do. So I made a mistake and I had to come back and I trimmed up the cardstock. And I'm sorry, off the top of my head, I don't have the measurements in my head. But it was just a little bit longer and wider than the actual sentiment strip. And I had gotten ink on it. Yeah, I made a splooge. So coming back in with a dye ink this time. Actually, the first time I stamped it and got the ink splotch on it, it was using a distressed Oxide ink, which they're great for stamping, but you've got to heat set them, and I was being lazy and I didn't do that. So you can see my messy desk, and I had just gotten back home from over a month spent in Boston with my mom, who was sick. So please forgive. Oh, why I was saying that, I always have a messy desk. We all know that. So anyway, I've stamped the sentiment out, and I realized that this panel itself wasn't distressed. So I tried sanding it, I wasn't getting quite the look, and I couldn't find that old little distress tool that we all used to have. So I found this basic gray tool, and then I just remembered, oh yeah, we used to use the, open our scissors and use the middle of it to just distress this part a little bit, because it just looked too clean for the look that I was going with the other 2 more distressed looking rustic pieces. I'm trying not to say the word distress because I guess I'm doing that. So I'm going to put that on here. I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape. And just to give that a good stick, I could have used a liquid adhesive, but I really wanted to pop it up on top of the paper crimped paper. Now, I felt like at this point that this just didn't look right. So I sent a picture to Jana Millen, who's also on our design team. And now here I'm pulling out my super duper paper trimmer. And you might say, why does this woman have 2 paper trimmers? Because of my hands, they're weak. And I use this heavy duty trimmer frequently to cut my card bases because it cuts multiple pieces of cardstock. And then I used it, oh sorry, I'm looking at the picture that I was working with here. And I left this segment in because I just wanted to tell you this is an occasion where I actually need and use that heavy duty trimmer. These are the two cards. One's the feminine card, and just trying to show you that I use the light gray ink and our rose stamps. And I'm so sorry my phone's in there. So there are the two cards, and I hope you enjoyed this video today. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you really liked this video. The stamp set is up now live on the store site, and there are two other sentiments that go with it. Be strong, it will stop storming soon, and together we will pick up the pieces, which you could use with a puzzle background. So this is a great set. So again, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to our channel, and I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you.